car has the wrong firmware installed. We won't be able to install our new firmware over top of it. We'll have to check another car. Oh no! How did the alarm get set off? Did I do something wrong? Let's get out of here before someone contacts the authorities! Success! This vehicle has the appropriate firmware version. Someone has been neglecting their regularly scheduled updates. Give me a moment to get everything installed. There. There are some other options here I can fool around with. Ah, interesting. I can put in preset destination plans for a future date. Why don't we go ahead and set a plan for the car to return to this spot in a week? That's more than enough time for Mr. Mensa to get away. Now we aren't really stealing the car. More like borrowing without asking. Obviously, the car will drive itself to Golden Gate Park, and we can show Mr. Mensa where it is when we meet him. There, everything should be set up now. We still need to get the cash together before we can meet back up with Mr. Mensa. Maybe we should ring... Hello, Pat. Could we see Melody? I guess that means yes? Flores is more of a royal figurehead at Flower these days. The group's board of directors make most of the major decisions in consultation with FCG's chief officers.
Turing, I'm not saying I don't like seeing your little pixelated face. You're certainly better company than most of the humans I have to deal with. But I am a busy woman, you know? Lots to do. Right, Pat? Traitor. Anyway, maybe we should space these little visits out a good bit further, hmm? Familiarity breeds contempt, after all. And I'm very good at contempt.
I apologize, Aunt Melody. You've stated before that you like your peace and quiet, but we need your assistance.
Oh, we're running with the aunt thing, are we? Another woman would tell you not to butter her up, but oh, flattery will get you everywhere with me. All right, what do you need? I can only imagine. If he's willing to turn coat on Parallax, I bet he feels like a mouse in a cat farm. I know they don't actually farm cats, Pat. It was a metaphor. Whatever, it was a simile then. I am not going to play semantics with you. Moving on. Tell me what the trouble is, and I'll try to conjure up a solution.
Yes, Mr. Mensa says he needs 100,000 credits before he's willing to speak openly. He also said that you already promised it to him, and that he won't be able to get out of the city without it. He'll give us the information once we have that, plus a few other things I'm certain we can get on our own.
What? You can't even scrape together that kind of money? Your friend's not much of a journalist, eh, Turing?
According to the statistics that I have found, it is unlikely that a journalist of any caliber less than the best would have that amount of liquid assets on hand. The pay for the profession just isn't that high, Aunt Melody.
Oh, I see. I guess it's one of those jobs people do because they get free review merchandise, eh? I can get you the money, Turing, but only because you're family. Just give Pat a few minutes to gather it. Yeah, just keep moving, you big brute. While we wait, is there anything else you want to grill me over? Might as well save us both another visit.
I do. It's a little personal, though. I'd understand if you didn't feel like answering.
Just shoot, Turing. I can take it.
Long ago, you lost your mother. I was wondering, how did you deal with it? Hayden's only been gone for a few days, and I already feel like my circuits are going to lock up for good.
Oh, Turing, I'm not the right person to ask. I hated my mother. She's everything I thought wrong in the world, and when she was gone, I felt nothing but relief that I could start undoing the damage she did. Never mind the fact I had to watch her waste away from the cancer. Death was a blessing for us both. Besides, you'll find Hayden soon. Keep your chin up.
Oh. Blast it! Enough with this subterfuge! We already know Hayden was killed.
Oh, no.
I won't be getting him back.
I'm sorry, Turing. I still don't know what to tell you. I've lost people, but never anyone close enough to wound me. I don't know that I've ever had anyone close enough to do that. If you feel like talking about it, I'm willing to listen. Or make Pat do it anyway.
Thank you. I don't know.
Stick it out. Time heals all wounds. Or so they say. This too shall pass. Smarter than I give him credit for, that's for sure. It's not the easiest thing in the world to measure, you know? He doesn't process language in the same way humans do, and even if he can understand me, my translation program just guesses at what he says most of the time.
Oh! You have a translator running from your neural implant!
Ah, yes. I'm cheating. Though, honestly, even without it, I have a pretty good idea of what he means most of the time. We've been together for a while now. Considering it only really works on large, typically predatory mammals, we don't have a lot of test subjects. It's a minefield of ethical concerns beyond just being prohibitively expensive. So Pat is a bear apart, at least until we can figure out how to apply the modified neural pathways without frying the brains of 90% of the subjects. The tech we developed is good. It just has a damned high mortality rate. Maybe one day there will be a bunch of talking tigers and dolphins building cities in the sea, but for now, we're stuck with creating beasts out of our own species. Being alone is easier, and Pat isn't such bad company. I mean, what do you want me to do? Cry about never having a husband, a few kids, and a white picket fence? I had a company to run, and my mother's legacy to fix. What's to say some spawn of mine wouldn't do the exact same thing to my flower, just the other way around? This branch of the Flores line will do well without any more knives being inserted in backs. Thank you very much.
You have that much enmity for your mother?
Have you seen what she did to North Korea? It's a wasteland of death and destruction. If we had kept going down the path she charted, the whole world would be like that.
The information on the mesh does seem to paint a grim picture.
Grim barely scratches the surface. I've been there. At least under the Kims it was barely functional. Now, my mother's monsters have ripped every last resemblance of humanity from the land. They stalk the night like horrific creatures of legend, keeping the populace in line through constant fear. A horror story straight out of the pages of Bram Stoker. That's her legacy. So I can't imagine I'd be a very good mother, just from the example I have to work with. That's life. I don't have any more regrets than anyone else my age does. My legacy will speak for itself, as my mother's did. Oh, just in time then. Take the cash and get moving. I can finally get back to whatever it was I was doing before you burst in here.
Thank you, Aunt Melody. Your help has been invaluable to us.
Yes, yes. Brown nose later. You've got things to do, too.
I did not think I would feel such a strong resonance with Melody. We're connected by the barest of threads, but she is already important to me. Is that strange? Very possible. I guess there's nothing to do but run with it. Some gifts are too valuable to look at too closely, lest they vanish into thin air, and I already have a penchant for overanalyzing things. Let's get moving. Mr. Mensa will be waiting for us at Golden Gate Park. We have everything he requested, so we should head there directly. Detective Rivers, to what do we owe the pleasure?
I wanted to check in with you away from the prying eyes of my corporate masters. It wasn't too hard to track you down here. Only took a slight abuse of power to follow your credit transactions in the AutoCAD system. Not much. Listen, I've hit a dead end on the investigation again, and I could really use another lead from the two of you. I had been busy hunting down I'm not sure if I want to call him a soldier of fortune or an assassin for hire. Either way, I tracked this guy down to see if he might have been hired by Parallax to snatch Hayden, but he's got an ironclad alibi for the relevant period of time. That leaves me with nothing. Nada. Jack diddly shit. Do the two of you have anything to give me? Otherwise I'm back to hunting down the froyo-hating robot ghost in the park. At least my superiors would be ecstatic, considering how much they keep riding my ass about it.
We're on thin leads ourselves, Detective Rivers. We have a meeting with someone from inside Parallax who might be able to give us answers, but he's unlikely to want to talk to the police. I just wish this. Never mind.
Buck up, Turing. I wish this was easier too. But with detective work, sometimes it's not about being clever. It's just about being more dogged and relentless than whoever you're chasing. You two are my new deputies, right? So keep your nose to the ground and keep digging. I still have a few contacts I can hit up to try finding out a little more. You let me know if there's anything else I need to be going after. Yeah, sure. Just get going. Don't forget, if you die, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Okay then, we only have a single lead. If Parallax really is as shady as Vincent seems to suspect, it could end up very interesting. Let's see if we can put an end to this. Finally. Oh, I just received an email from Tomcat. They finished decrypting Hayden's data cache. It seems that it was filled mostly with his personal logs about my creation and mental development. The more technical information was already scraped. Perhaps that is why it was left behind when they snatched him. Still, these files should be enlightening, if only in a personal way. I'll peruse them in my spare time and let you know if I find anything interesting. I'd hate for all the trouble we went to be for nothing.
Who is there? I cannot see a thing. I shall make a note to request more street lamps in this park. This is much too dark an area.
Hey, did you manage to get everything?
We did. Here you go, Vincent.
Everything seems to be in order. Here. This disc has all of Hayden's research notes, data collation algorithms, and probably lots on your creation, Turing. It should be everything myself and Melody agreed upon, until she added an amendment while you were out. Frankly, it's no skin off my back. Here. It's my Parallax employee badge. It should allow you access to their networks in case there's anything I've missed. You'll want to use that sooner rather than later. I'm not wasting any time leaving, and Parallax is pretty fast to revoke security. There's no way Hayden's clearance still works. And with that, I'm going to get the hell out of this country. The credit should tide me over until the heat dies down and I liquefy my shares through some relays. I suppose I owe you that much. Buckle up. This could get heavy. Parallax is about to launch a new service they're calling Big Blue. At least, that's the project name. Who knows what the marketing guys will come up with for the public. They're not even announcing the launch. This shit is dead quiet. Let me explain why. It's a distributed intelligence. Like, okay, in every way that Hayden built Turing to be elegant, efficient, and human-like, Big Blue is ham-fisted, bloated, and sterile. they didn't pull Hayden into the project. He's smart, but he's immune to corporate politics. As a result, Big Blue is far less elegant than anything Hayden would make. It lacks his artistry, and it's downright terrifying. It squats on the mesh like a spider and uses the spare processing power and memory from every ROM on the network to handle its intelligence processing. It doesn't have much personality, but it's very smart. Big Blue is going to be embedded directly into the network and then self-modified to apply even more efficient algorithms as it develops them in machine time. Look, if you access every ROM, then you have access to every human and every bit of their own personal data associated with them. I don't want you to take what I'm saying the wrong way, and this is just me putting the pieces together. Hayden was about to publish his creation of Turing. His findings, as I'm sure you're aware of, would have raised many moral and ethical questions about the advent of machine intelligence. I mean, some of the brightest minds ever have tried to warn humankind away from building real AI. Hawking, Musk, Gates, and the list goes on. The public is likely to be nervous, and legislators even more so. Parallax is banking on being able to launch Big Blue quietly and quickly before the public has a chance to react. Before any counter-movement can pick up steam. Every eye on the discovery of machine intelligence works against Parallax. Every new discovery only serves to paint Big Blue as more controversial, more dangerous. Honestly, they probably pressured Hayden to drop his research so that they could keep the public away from the subject. He clearly refused. I'm only assuming they found out. His contract with Parallax affords him the freedom to work on his own academic projects outside of the company in his free time. I guess it's one of the perks of being the smartest guy in the room. He kept a trusted few of us up to date on his progress, bouncing ideas off us and whatnot. It's exciting stuff, both Turing and Hayden's eventual goal down that road. I wouldn't be surprised if word of it got up to the board and made him nervous. Is the possibility that someone on the inside talked too far-fetched?
I knew it all along. Hayden fell into trouble because of my existence.
That's not what I want your takeaway to be. Hayden wasn't working on Big Blue. Knowing him, your creation might have been his clever way to stop it. I can't really give you a good answer to that. I mean, the company is currently handled by a dozen server farms, running thousands of different algorithms with hundreds of people tweaking things every day. When Big Blue launches, it'll handle all of that by itself. And there are shadier applications for it. I mean, if you can collate and analyze data and queries in the mesh in real time, what's to stop you from delivering the content you want rather than what the user wants? The potential for abuse is staggering. We're talking direct control of the information accessible to everyone who uses Parallax's services. That's something like 80% of the market. They could control elections, push the market in directions they want, even influence public opinion. All just by asking Big to do it. It's scary stuff. They scrapped the prototype Baby Blue because it started doing that on its own.
What do you mean? It started doing what?
Manipulating the mesh. They made its self-preservation imperatives too strong, and Baby Blue started changing search results to be more friendly towards the idea of an AI. When the board found out, they pulled the plug on it. That must have been a year or so ago. They tweaked Big Blue so it wouldn't do the same thing, but it can self-modify. Given a good enough reason, it might decide to find a way around those limitations. Having that kind of control would be a hell of a card for Parallax's hand. They'll go to pretty significant lengths to make sure it works. Hey, no problem. I've had enough of this cutthroat corporate bullshit for several lifetimes. We haven't talked much, but I do believe you can find Hayden. I hope his research notes help you out. Be sure to let Turing help. She's a bright little bot. Oh, slip of the tongue. I was just more familiar with Hayden's previous experiment, Grace. She was very insistent on things like that.
Well, honestly, I don't think I've made my mind up yet. I'm still a very new being. I'm not even positive that gender as a human concept can be applied identically to machine, but I do enjoy the idea in abstract. I will continue to consider how I wish to be referred to as well. Until then, feel free to go with what you feel. If I had to make a choice, perhaps they is most appropriate. Most people assume it, obviously, but he is also consistently used. Perhaps it's because I'm blue?
Oh my god. I'm listening to a machine postulate on how it wants to be referred to, like us. What have you done indeed, Hayden? Good luck, to both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Mensa. I need a few minutes. I've been going through some of Hayden's personal notes from the data cache Tomcat decrypted. Now that I'm starting to get to know Hayden better, the real Hayden as opposed to the Hayden he showed me, I'm finding that I like him less and less. For example, remember the earlier prototype Dr. Fairlight and Vincent mentioned? Her name was Grace, and Hayden shut her down for being... I'm not even sure what word to use. Too... likable? She was kind and bright, and did all she could to try to make people happy. She even decided that she was a girl, and that her favorite color was pink. Hayden thought she was being manipulative. He posited that he had made her personality algorithms too willing to make adaptations that would benefit her long-term survival, and that she was being congenial just to endear herself to him. That even her gender was a calculated attempt to make him like her more. But he was wrong. Dead wrong, in fact. I have a snapshot of her personality profiles here, and when I compare them to my own, I can see that she was just... nice. She was genuinely good, in the same way I'm genuinely obsessed with seeming intelligent. I wish I could have met her. I think we would have learned from each other. Like I said, I'm not sure I even have a gender. Everyone refers to me as he once they meet me just for convenience, but it doesn't really matter to me at all. Is that a calculated attempt on my part to impress Hayden, not clinging to normativity? Or is it a product of his effort to curb any nascent similarities I had with Grace during my upbringing? I wish I could yell at him for being so arrogant. Playing God in the crudest of ways. You can't choose to create consciousness and then take it away just like that. Even so, for all of that, I don't know. I still miss him. This all seems so inane, so senseless. They killed him because him building me would mess with a product launch? That's ridiculous. They took him away from me for such an insignificant reason. I just want him back. It's impossible, but it's what I want. I'd do anything. I'm aware of the Kubler-Ross model of grief. I think I'm somewhere between anger and bargaining. A testament to Hayden's craftsmanship. Thank you for your words. You're a better friend than I could have asked for. I'll send this new data along to Tomcat. Let's head back to the apartment and wait for them to finish going through it. home sweet home again, such that it is. And before you say anything, I don't feel the need to talk over the events of the day. Too much has happened. I've already forwarded everything we rooted out to Tomcat, both Hayden's research and our aborted search into the modified mesh articles. They said they would be over in the morning to discuss our next steps. I'd suggest that we both get some rest. Perhaps things will look better in the morning, but I have a feeling we're going to be even busier than ever. Good night.
Rise and shine, you sleepy layabouts. We've got a whole crop of things to do and not a lot of time to get them done. Hardly had to blink to crack your door. Did you know that it's just a knockoff of the Secugate M/14723-B? Why'd you make the entry code the birthday of your first dog anyway?
That's what I asked.
Anyhow, I felt a little silly when I realized your window was propped open and I could have just used that.
Huh, deja vu!
Y'all should be more careful about that. Though, I can't blame you much. The climate control in here seems a bit lacking in the stamina department. No worries, doll.
What have you learned from the files we sent you?
Nothing all that new, to be honest. All the files we got from that Vincent fella just covered what we already knew in greater detail. There is one thing that stands out, though. At least from what I've read so far.
Oh?
Yeah. See, Hayden's long-term goal wasn't to make the machine intelligence per se, right? Don't take it the wrong way, Turin. You might even already be aware of this after talking to folks involved in your creation. Hayden wanted to make a machine system that could contain human-like intelligence. And even just from his notes, his programming work is, well, it's something else. Elegant. Artful. I'm just a kid banging on pots and pans compared to him. Looking at his notes about my interfacing between your AI core and the Lips OS, I barely managed to duct tape the two together at a level he'd approve of. But I think I'm getting off track here. What I'm trying to say is, he didn't write your code, Turn. No one did. Hayden wrote a program that automatically generates a new machine intelligence based off of the hardware profiles the system is installed on.
Melody mentioned something about that. What does that mean?